Hi, and welcome to World Religions. My name's Tim McKenzie. I'm going to be your instructor this semester. Throughout the semester, I will give some videos for kind of in each module to kind of introduce the thing. I think some of those videos may be a little bit older. I not 100% sure, but that's I'm going to update some of them as we go along. But some of them, I'm just kind of giving you an overview of the religion. So some of those videos are a little bit older, but I'm updating at least the first couple, and I may update all of them just depending upon how everything's going as we move along. As far as it goes, this is a lot different if anybody's ever taken another philosophy course. If you've taken logic, that's a lot different because it's very technical. But if you've taken like intro or ethics, those are kind of different. World religions is not so much about critical analysis or thought of the religions. It's more about entering into an idea of what are these religions. It's sort of a historical, philosophical approach to what are the religions, what do they believe, how those ideas influence the way people view and live in the world. And so that's what world religions is about. And so, that's about all there is to say. Now, the course is divided into modules. Each module is 2 weeks in length. And during each module, we cover a different topic or a different area or a different religion. The first one will be kind of like indigenous religions, what is religion, things like that. The next one will be what's probably the oldest religion in the world, Hinduism. Then we'll move on to like Buddhism, and then Taoism, Confucianism. We'll eventually get into like Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and then modern religions, atheism, things like that. So we will, basically that's what the entire course will do it, and everything's in a 2-week break. During that 2 weeks, you have a few things you need to do in each module. You need to read the book, watch any videos and other things, participate in a discussion board, but the discussion board will be based around news. And then, so you have to go out and just kind of keep an eye on world religion news, and then find an article that's interesting and then present it. And the reason is, and then you write up a little summary of the news article, and then you comment and discuss these. And so we can kind of see how these religions play a role in our world on a daily basis, and how knowing a little bit more and seeing more about these religions is actually of great value to us. So that's kind of the way each module is set up. They also ask you to write your own personal reflection. That's where you say, like, I like this, I didn't like that. This is not asking you don't have to accept it, but if you might say, like, what did you like about this religion if you were, like for example, there's different religions that have different value to me. I mean, I will just tell you right up front, like, I am I grew up in the Christian tradition. I grew up actually as a Presbyterian, and then I later converted to Catholicism because my ex-wife was Catholic. That's probably a little oversimplification. I mean, I like Catholicism. I like the liturgy and the tradition of it. And so that's kind of why I made that move. But it was also because she was Catholic. But the case is that I'm not like, I'm not dogmatic about my religion. I question my faith a lot. I want to make sure that's clear, and I have no problem with what anybody else believes. I'm pretty open-minded about everything, and I try to be sensitive, so I don't want to do that. But the other thing I want to say is, even though I come from that religious tradition and that background, that I still see a lot of value. I like certain ideas in Taoism. I like a lot of ideas in Buddhism. I like some of these ideas. Like on Christmas Eve, as I was going to church with my kids, and they were going to go home with their mother and spend Christmas morning, and I was going to be home alone, I was really focused on a lot of the teachings of Buddhism during even Mass, because some of those lessons about how I was going to be sad because of the desire to be with my kids, and the first noble truth is life is suffering. The second noble truth is the desire is the cause of suffering, and then the third noble truth is the end of desire is the end will bring about the end of suffering, and then the eightfold path of Buddhism will allow us to reach that conclusion. That in that moment was very valuable to me. And so that's one of the things I want you to do in that reflection, is to think about things like that, where, I can really see I like that idea. I thought that was a good lesson. Buddhism, Also, like for example, in some of these other religions, don't necessarily even have concepts of God, and so that's another thing to keep in mind, that the religions are also very different in a lot of ways. But we can usually find some interesting things in them, and I want you to write about that. You can just kind of do it more on a technical basis, but that's what I'm asking you to do, is to look at what you found interesting, what you thought was something that's of value, what you thought was really absurd, things like that, what things you didn't expect, things you didn't know beforehand, and that's a reflection. You do that each unit, and then we slowly add that up to 100 points. Each of those is worth like 12 and a half points. So the first time you get it, you're gonna have like 12 and a half out of 100. That's because you got all 12 and a half of that first one. There are 8 of them. 12 and a half plus 12 and a half times, 12 and a half times 8 is 100, and that's how those points are added up. As far as this goes, those are the things we're going to do in that. We also will have a return paper, and we will also have a term paper, and we also will have a what's the other thing we have? We were going to go out and visit religious communities. You don't have to come with us to go visit religious communities, but you should go visit some religious communities. The best way to kind of experience religion and to see it and to learn about it is to actually go out and see people who practice the faith. You will remember that well beyond this course if you go out and go to a mosque and you see them pray and you do that. It can be a little uncomfortable, it can be a little different, but that is of great value. And so we're going to go probably to like a Protestant church. So if you're Catholic, I'd like you to go to that, or as an option. If you're Protestant, though, I'd probably prefer you not to do the Protestant. I would prefer you to do the Catholic. If you grew up with a multi-mix or no religion, then you can do both. That's fine. We'll go to a mosque at some point. I think we're going to try to arrange to go to the Hindu temple if possible, and probably the Baha'i group, and probably a synagogue if at all possible. Those are kinds of the ones I'm looking at right now. Just try to go out to a service, do those things, and I'll try to get all that arranged and set up here in the next week or two. And I will put out an email about when those will be. If you want to go to these communities on your own, you are welcome to do that. The only reason I go as a group, they're at specific times, and so you may not be able to make it. You have to go to 2, so there's 6 opportunities. You have to go to 2 of them. If you have family, work, other commitments, you may not be able to do it. I would ask you to go out and do this on your own. Now, the reason I do it as a group and I do these times is because if, I can just say, like, when I was younger, even today, I'm not exactly like, ooh, I'm going to go over to the mosque by myself for services. Like that would be maybe a slightly uncomfortable to me. It's not horribly uncomfortable. I'm just comfortable with things now more than I was younger. And I also have worked as a reporter and things like that. So I'm just comfortable walking into strange places and figuring my way around. But as far as it goes, as far as that goes, this is an opportunity. If you come out, you see my face, and now you know what I look like, and so you come out to like the mosque. I'll stand there at the front. You come in, and you say, "Are you Mr. McKenzie? Are you Tim? Whatever you want to say, Professor McKenzie, Tim." Then I'll say, "Yeah," and you can just kind of stay with me, right? And you won't have to worry about it, or you'll be with a group of students and it won't be nearly as uncomfortable. If you don't want to ask questions, you don't have to. I would encourage you to. I'd encourage you to do stuff, but that's the way that will work. You don't have to participate in these religions. If they ask you to, you can say no. That is your right. I'm not making you practice another faith or anything. And some people who are, of their tradition have a real issue with it. Me, I'm probably a little more open. I'd probably, I have no problem with kneeling and praying in the Islamic faith or any others. I'm willing to give it a try. I don't necessarily think that doesn't diminish from my religious belief system. Other people don't agree, and that's perfectly legitimate, perfectly within your rights, and I accept that. I would encourage you to try things, but I don't make you do it, and I definitely don't want you to do anything you're uncomfortable with in that regard. You just need to go out and see it and experience it, and that's the goal. As far as things about the class, we have tests in each module. Those tests are timed. The idea there is they're timed in order to encourage you to study beforehand, to read the chapter, review the videos, do everything else beforehand. That way you're not just doing it at the last minute and kind of looking up the answers. I want you to prepare ahead of time. And there was one other thing. Oh, just a couple little things. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask me if you miss a deadline. I kind of say, everything's open at the beginning. It's 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. There's really no reason to miss a deadline. You can work ahead. But if you have a problem, you run into an issue, I'm usually pretty easy to work with, and just email me, and I'm usually pretty understanding. I mean, I have kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and you never know if they're going to get sick, or I'm going to have a work commitment I didn't realize, or going to have a personal issue that I didn't realize, or I could get sick, things like that. And so I am understanding of those issues. I'm pretty easy to work with in that regard. The other thing the other thing I always say is, like, as far as it goes, as far as being successful in this course, look through everything, take some time to understand how the course works, and then set aside time each week to read and study, because trying to learn about a whole entire religion in like one day or one setting is very difficult. And the other thing about an online course is we're all busy, and that's probably the reason we're taking this. And if we don't set aside time, oftentimes we forget, and then we're like, oh crap, I forgot about this course for 6 weeks, and now I'm 3 months behind, or not 3 months, it's 6 weeks behind. But the case is that you're behind, and it becomes a problem. So make sure to set aside time. If you run into an issue, you have confusion, you want some further explanation, email me, call me, text me, whatever. It's all in there on the syllabus. I am more than willing to help you out. If you want to come in and talk to me, that's fine. If you're uncomfortable with something, come in and talk to me. Whatever it be, I'm here to help you. That's what I get paid to do. And, reach out to me. So the 2 things I always say to be successful is set aside time, and don't be afraid to reach out and tell me if you need some help.